Today I'm going to be covering one of my favorite games from the Sega Genesis library dating all the way back to 1993. This game is called Dinosaurs for Hire, or more complete, Tom Mason's Dinosaurs for Hire. Dinosaurs for Hire is a game that was based on comic book series created by Tom Mason in 1988. It ran from 1988 to 1994, having switched ownership and restarted in 1993. There were a total of 21 issues made. The writing in the comics was largely satirical based on popular action movies and TV shows of the time. I have never personally read these comics, but as a kid playing this game, I absolutely was trying to find them. On to the game. The video game cover art is very interesting. It catches the eye immediately as you have one dinosaur firing off a gun and three others are kind of huddled around, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. On the back it reads, "Dino dudes with major attitudes. A psycho dictator unleashes mobs of biogenetic dinosaur freaks. These 4 dinosaurs for hire take on the mission, blasting through hordes of ninjas and prehistoric beasts the size of skyscrapers. If it ain't been shot, shoot it." Archie is the no-nonsense leader of Dinosaurs for Hire. This Tyrannosaurus, and its Tyrannosaurus is, there's a space in there. This Tyrannosaurus Rex's philosophy is seek out trouble and eliminate it. Triceratops Lorenzo loves Hawaiian shirts as much as he loves explosions. Reese the Stegosaurus is the team's wild card. Quick to anger, he'll use a cannon to swat a fly. And on my personal copy, I do have a Blockbuster Video sticker on the back. It was sold in April 1994. What's interesting is on the back cover, it actually says that these 4 dinosaurs for hire take on the mission. Technically, yes, only 3 of them are playable characters. I believe the 4th one is the boss that actually hands out the missions in the game, and he's not playable, the pterodactyl. Within the game itself, there are normal options where you can select the game difficulty, choose different continue options, listen to some of the music and sound effects. I love this option in a lot of those early video games. This game is actually centered around a 3-button standard Sega Genesis controller. So most of the time you only have a close-up SWAT type action, fire gun action, and jump. Very, very basic. Pretty similar in gameplay to Contra. Now there are different moves that you can actually do within the game, depending on the buttons that you press and in the order that you press them. In the game, you can actually aim the weapon up, left, and right. I do not believe you can actually aim down on the gun, but you can do a close-up attack and extra options where they have smart bombs that you can detonate to clear the screen. You can do a stomp by holding the C button and pressing D-pad down for closer enemies. And of course, within the manual itself, it does describe some of the tactics that you may want to use throughout the game, combat tips, outlines of different power-ups, like you can get a multi-shot spread for your gun, you can add another life, you can have a smart bomb. But this game really does largely center around your ability to react really quickly to oncoming enemy fire. And at the end of the day, you have to replay the level over and over and over again to really find out where all the hidden power-ups are and to find out what the best way to go through the level is. There are some later levels that really try your patience, and those levels can be pretty difficult. There's 5 different levels and there's a final boss level, but yeah, it's a really fun game, and the humor within the game is very outstanding. It really took me aside as a kid. They were able to incorporate some of the humor from the comics into the video game platform, and it was very innovative at the time. Generally, the level layout is pretty varied from level to level. You usually have at least one, if not two, paths to get to the end of the level, and it does require a little bit of platforming and exploration. Sometimes the game forces you to move a little bit slower than to rush forward. Some sections reward you for rushing forward as you avoid gunfire and you avoid enemies coming at you, but some sections really do punish you for trying to push full steam ahead, and it either is an instant kill or a pitfall that can kill you. Also, sometimes your level exploration will reward you with power-ups throughout the journey that will aid you in defeating more enemies on screen at the same time. If you do die, then you'll be restarted at the beginning of the level. There are no checkpoints throughout the level. Usually the levels themselves are pretty short. They're not super long, and if you end up dying and losing all of your lives, the continue will start you at the beginning of the level that you were in. So it's not too punishing. It won't start you at the beginning of the game. Now for the soundtrack. The soundtrack and the sound effects are all very unique and varied throughout the game. You'll definitely have a very similar baseline throughout levels, but I feel like that really ties the game together, and although I cannot describe it as the epitome of Sega Genesis sound quality, the level songs and sound effects are very catchy. They are very memorable. At the end of the day, do I recommend this game? Yes, I would say if you are into platformers that are unique at the time and you're not really afraid of a little bit of repeat and a little bit of platforming challenge, then I would say definitely if you can seek this title out for your library, then absolutely I recommend it. It's definitely one of my personal favorites, but I also have a connection from having the game early on in my childhood and just really repeat playing the game and getting the music ingrained in my head. So for me, it's absolutely one of my favorite Sega Genesis games of all time, and I think that if you give it a chance, you might enjoy it as well.